So
I'm just like recording so that we can like reference later on.
So feel free to interrupt us and make any question. Okay.
Oh, two more participants coming. Maybe give them a second. They're kind of coming down from upstairs. Vladko is joining, and like his mom is joining. His mom is like a hardcore trader. Vladko is also a hardcore trader.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Like
wow. What's her name?
Dita. That's the mom's name. Yeah.
Dita.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Yeah. Actually, like those folks like sitting upstairs, like the whole like Davoso group, the engineering side, they're all like very hardcore traders, but they trade like cryptocurrencies. Yeah, but they're kind of like doing some stuff right now. So maybe give them a few more minutes and they'll come down. Sorry for the interruption.
No, it's okay. Are you an engineer, Tuhami? Computer engineer?
I am not even close to being an engineer. I used to be a lawyer, actually, by training. So I qualified to practice law, and I did for a number of years before I switched to the fund management industry. So I'm running a hedge fund at the moment.
Oh, look at this. That's interesting. Wow, good.
Yeah.
What about you guys? What's your background?
I'm an economist.
Okay,
but
fantastic.
then I had my master in Australia, in Melbourne, MBA, and then my doctorate is in anthropology.
Oof, wow. Okay,
yes. It's like in behavior and symbolic things, so it's kind of complementary.
Yeah, wow. I feel somewhat afraid to be speaking to you. I don't know what kind of analysis you're doing.
No. No, just relax. I mean, it's very, very easygoing, please.
I'll be back now. Let's go check what's up.
What about you, Pris? What's your background?
I used to be a full stack developer, and then now I'm and after I moved into UX, also full stack. So I've done like about 6 startups already, but currently right now I'm with AIA. So I'm actually leading their UX team. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Priscilla from AIA. I may have come across your name somewhere actually before. I can't remember where. Maybe
you're famous.
Yeah.
No,
I don't know.
no way.
Maybe it's a Women's Entrepreneurs Network or something like that. Are you a part of that? Or maybe you're speaking at some event.
Oh, not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, but I need to start doing that soon already. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Cool. So, how do you guys know Gary?
I met Gary traveling, and then we also met in the US, in California, because he used to live there. I mean, he's based there. And then I was studying there, and then we met. So it was like a kind of coincidence, you know, we met traveling and then again in California, and then it's a friendship for, I don't know, few years already.
Okay, wow.
Vladko is here to join us.
Hello, how are you?
Hello.
Good to see you. And good.
Hi, Vladko. I'm Fatima.
Hello, Fatima. I've heard about you.
Hi, Dita.
How are you?
Welcome.
I heard a lot about you, Fatima, from Gary.
Oh yeah.
I hope good things.
Researcher, very strong researcher background.
Yeah.
Yes.
Positive things. Thank you.
Because you invite me in your focus group. I'm very
please. So can we start? May we start now? Good. So this is gonna last 20, max 25 minutes. It's we would like to test our concept. And so everything that you say, you know, it's gonna help us to refine our concept. So let's go. Maybe you already had like a situation when you were not sure who or what to trust in the online trade space. I imagine that all of you, as you know, Gary already said that you have an experience with trading. So am I right? Are you familiar with trading, betting, gaming?
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And another question is about crypto. Are you familiar with trading in crypto?
Yes.
Yes.
Me.
So that's good because, you know, like sometimes it's important to clarify. So not sure who or what to trust in the online trade space. And another thing, it's about, let me ask you about tips. How do you do with tips? Like, do you follow any tips? Do you follow somebody that it's good to give you tips? Let me listen a little bit about tips and your way to trade.
Tips for trading.
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 For trading,
Yeah.
first, I'm doing a good analysis, especially about crypto. And I was studying and analyze around 2-3 years and listening the news and following the market before to got a brave to start with trading. And my trading is based on the mathematic prediction and based of my intuition according to this.
But you also follow some groups.
I'm following some groups also, yes.
And Dita, how often do you follow this? Are you like a regular follower? Do you check every day? How often do you do?
Yes, every day. Nowadays, no, because I'm a little bit busy with Belgrade issue, but I'm following every day. Yeah.
So as I observe and how she approaches, definitely it's a phenomenon I see. So sometimes going on CoinMarketCap, she reads through discussions happen.
Yeah, I'm filtering this.
And obviously there is a lot of, let's say, shilling involved there, like the price is going to go up, this is the best projects and everything. And sometimes when there is a new token that she has seen on the discussion boards and it leads her to like a rabbit's hole, she comes back to me and she says like, is this a good project? And based on, you know, a couple of searches online, I have the power. Well, I mean, I think this comes from like so many iterations and looking through all of these projects to understand whether there is some value behind this project. But obviously, by what I observed in the past year, there is a lot of, I would say, anchors in these discussions groups that kind of like take her away from her methodology and influence the way she kind of like does or puts the time and effort to analyze these things.
Yeah, but sometimes I'm not following the project who is Vlatko suggesting me. 90% I'm not following. I'm following my intuition, because some project which is not good when I'm doing my mathematics research, the mathematics research with the volume and with the price jumping. Some of the crypto is going up, but the Bitcoin is going down. How often is this? A lot of arguments. I have a lot of what I'm following in my, let's see, in my manual platform. This is now because I'm really fresh. 6 months I'm doing, but before 2-3 years I was analyzed all the crypto what is happening around the market. Yeah, and for me.
If I can summarize, it's like you see quite few sources, but then you bring everything together, but by the end you follow your intuition.
Yes.
Is it right?
Yes.
Good. And Tahami, how do you do? Can you share?
Well, my experience is a little bit different because obviously I run a traditional finance hedge fund, right? So that means that we're in the markets all the time, and we have a systematic strategy. So we've designed a strategy based on our own models. So we create our own models to trade the markets, but we do it completely quantitatively, right? So we analyze how markets have done in the past, and we analyze quantitatively how attractive they are, and we create a portfolio that we hold. So in that sense, we professionally, at least when I run this hedge fund, the answer is we don't trust anything else that people say. The only thing we look at is what prices have been posted in the past, right?
So
and
data,
that's
data
right.
and AI.
I wouldn't really even say AI. I guess it's just statistical analysis, although people talk about AI nowadays, but it's actually pretty simple, mathematical formulas or analysis, actually. So we're not trying to use computers to really predict something beyond human ability. It's still simple math that governs how we invest. But of course, we use computing power to put it all together. But that's an approach of investing that we take, to run this fund professionally. But what I would say is on an individual basis, right? So for example, if I'm feeling like I want to dabble in some stocks or some crypto stuff that my fund doesn't do, then yes, I would look to, unfortunately, I'm still a bit old school. So I would look to, if you're talking about stocks, then there's avenues for tips from more fundamental analysts. And that would be the likes of, Motley Fool and the old school sort of guys who buy and hold for long periods of time. And then when it comes to sort of shorter holdings, then it would be websites like, I think it's TradingView, the charting analysis and so on. So of course, there are crypto equivalents for both of them. So when we talk about, what Vlatko was talking about just now about whether a particular project is good, layer 1, layer 2, typically in that space, I don't see anybody sort of providing that service for a fee. So I would typically rely on friends in that space who are investing as VCs into these projects to sort of inform me whether or not these are good, and then layer that on with the charting sort of technical analysis that sometimes is provided by different parties. So it's usually a combination of the two, but I would say they are quite different, obviously, because one is a more long-term analysis, the fundamentals, whereas the charting technical analysis is meant more for short-term trading.
Mhm.
Excellent. So we are talking about legitimacy, how legitimate it is. So you lay on experience and some, I would say, reputation of the source.
Yeah, I think so. I have a lot more faith in analysis in relation to the fundamentals. That means a real analysis on whether or not this project makes sense, whether it's got a good team. Those kinds of things are a bit more difficult to sort of get wrong. But I think, unless of course it's a case of fraud, in which case everything unravels. But technical analysis and charts, maybe the way I use them haven't been particularly good. So I think there's a big question mark over whether those really work.
Excellent. Good, thank you.
Jack?
So let's, Gary?
Maybe Jack? Jack just joined us.
Oh, yes.
Hi, everyone.
Hi,
Hey, Jack.
Jack.
You guys are getting the en route to school delivery of my kids. This is right during that time, so they're getting the drop off right now. But I do just little introduction. I basically have run tech companies. I've been a tech entrepreneur for about 20 years, so my perspective is really heavy on the startup side, and I'm very close to kind of the development teams. So we run a pretty large team, 2 different divisions, architects, front end devs, we kind of have the full stack. So for me, one of the things that I've noticed when we're pitched on a project, we usually get pitched from we need the money to develop it from a software standpoint. So we'll either invest to help build the project. And that's probably the number one thing that we run into all the time when we have a technical person come on board to review the technical team. that's usually the greatest disappointment when we find out the skill set. You know, they're hiring some third party group and they're using, you know, something that the person's been using for or learning on for a couple of months and they're new to it. And so that's usually our biggest driver on how we participate in the market is the actual technical skill set to execute.
And Jake, I'd like to listen a bit about if you looking for tips when you go trading. Do you use tips and what kind of tips?
Well, that's kind of why I brought up the. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's why I brought up the technical developers. So we usually can get introductions to the actual team, and we want to know how it's being worked on, what the turnover looks like on the technical side of the team. Are the developers happy, or do they not the project? So we can actually talk to the devs that are working on it rather than just the marketing people. So the marketing people can put a spin. I want to talk to the DAO, like, no, we just lost one of our key architects because he constantly was arguing with the rest of the team about the direction of the project. That's a good indicator for us. That's what we do now. And it's been pretty successful.
Oh, wow.
Okay, it's clear. Thank you. Good. So let's go on. So our concept, we are here to test a game. So what we are proposing, it is a game. And it's a game, so we are going to coordinate finance and game. So it's a game for traders. And yeah, it's like making the online trade space a safer place for investor. So we are combining finance and gamification here. Let's see. Let's go through our concept and I'm going to show you our web page. I would like you to read. I don't know if Jake can read it. Can you, Jake? I don't know where are you now, but can you see our screen?
I will be able to. Yes, I will be able to.
What does it say?
So please.
Maybe you read out for us.
Okay. Discover a new way to trade. Cut through all the marketing hype, false claims with verifiable. There are some words which are difficult for me. Verifiable stock prediction accuracy. Uncover who holds the real trading chops. So this is the thing, you know, it's a new way to trade. Then in our game, you can be a punter, filter noise to find trusted trading signals, prediction from top hunters, purchase proven, high accuracy predictions, win a big in the stock market. So you can choose to be a punter and or you can choose to be a hunter or both. Build a reputation and loyal following through the accuracy of your stock prediction. Earn income from true seekers who bet on your predictions. So in our game, again, we are combining finance and gamification. You can bet, you can be a punter, and you can be a hunter. And battle is it out in truth war. Pit your skills against other hunters in the war of truth to win fame and tokens, and shower your loyal clan of punters with even more tokens. So you can make money, and a lot of people are making money now trading crypto. This has already happened. What is new that we are bringing? It's about gaming. It's a competition. So it's gonna have like quite few punters and quite few hunters. And we are gonna see how do you behave? How do you perform? that's what we'd like. This is the ecosystem that we are proposing. I'd like you to take a time or read again, and I'd like to listen to you. So take a moment and tell me what's your impression from just what I said. What is the understanding of this page and the concept?
Ja nie możemy. Proč?
Be a hunter, be a punter.
Thanks, Fatima. As you spoke and described this, I was sort of reminded of two things that I came across and dabbled with some time back in the crypto space that has elements of this. One of which is, what's it called? Trader make money, right? So for crypto traders, it's quite difficult to sort of measure your P&L. So Trader Make Money is a great platform for, you just link it to your account, they track all your trades. And they do have functions there where they basically allow traders to compete, right? On a single month, who's going to be the best trader, whose strategy works, so on and so forth. I'm not sure what kind of rewards there are there, but there is that element of validating the success or the profits that every trading strategy that is plugged into the platform generates. And then related to that is another service that I dabbled with before called TokenBot. And some of my early sort of trading was through this means, right? So I set up sort of, for example, a Binance account, and I hook up through this service called TokenBot to copy trade someone who is supposedly a successful trader. And the success of whether or not that trader is successful is something that you can sort of validate on Trader Make Money because the records are there. But of course, these are two sort of different services, and it depends on you how you sort of utilize them to piece it together. So that's just saying that this sort of has both elements combined into one, it seems. And also you've gamified it a bit more to say there is a competition with rewards. So I think that's how I sort of see it, but tell me if I'm wrong.
No, I think I got, yes, that's a very good contribution. It's in this way. My point here is that sometimes you compete against yourself. And in this environment, we are proposing that you compete with yourself and also with others, because it's going to be there how good you are doing. So it's kind of a public. So if you are a good punter or if you are a good hunter, I don't know if these terms are clear enough. We can clarify, but it's about not you with yourself, not only, but also it's going to be like a ranking. Who are the best punters or hunters? And then you are competing also against the environment.
On that note, Fatima, if you're talking about rankings, I do have a question. You see, every single trader typically has quite a different strategy in terms of what they invest in, their holding periods, and so on. To me, it doesn't seem simple, certainly, to compare between two different traders and say one is better than the other, unless you're asking them for a prediction on a particular, counter or cryptocurrency or whatever it is, and say this is it. You're just telling me whether I should buy or sell, and the period is, say, 1 day or 1 week. So are we intending to define the rules very clearly to say this is what we're competing on? This is what the bounty is for, which then becomes a little bit may not be as aligned to an actual trading strategy, right? We're actually just making a call on one particular instrument, basically. Is that the intention?
Yes, I think Gary can go deeper in this, but yes, we are gonna compete in the predictions, how accurate you are in your predictions. And then just to show, we will have like a ranking here.
Fatima, I think Vlatko has a question.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I just
Vlatko?
back just a little comment on the whole, let's say, environment over there. And based on Suhaimi's, if you can go back, would be nice. So everybody.
Yes.
So the approach practically taken the way I see it, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, Gary, you as well. It's kind of giving a playing environment for two sides, right? Like one is the betting environment, which is kind of the punters, and they go on top as a client base to bet on the scale and volume of the hunters. So the hunters effectively are the ones that make the predictions, record their predictions on the blockchain. In the very beginning, and like actually as a first entry point, it doesn't matter whether the hunters bet in a like kind of leveled type of field or they have the rules of the game preset, because we are betting against an environment which is kind of like open, right? If you consider the, and you make the parallel with the forwards and futures and options market, you can see that out there you have thousands of different of various hedging types of instruments, right? It's about whether there's a supply demand or a need for that particular options contract in order to execute it, right? You can sell it the price, whatever the case. So effectively coming in and making your predictions, you should be kind of freely open to do so. Now, I'm not certain, we need to check about whether a punter or a hunter is the right terminology to use within these two environments, because they're kind of like operating in their own funnel, right? They touch each other, but they're in their own kind of lanes. One bets the other. Like if you think about the punter doesn't really care about the casino, or he doesn't really care about so much about horse riding, or let's say dogs racing, or whatever he's betting on. He just wants to, bet. If he thinks that he can gamify the betting environment, he goes deep into it, but at the end of the day, he's not that passionate. It actually works the other way around. It's the passion can then take you towards betting, because now you feel that you have some more experience and knowledge and insights about that particular, let's say, betting environment, which can be any, right? Now, what Suhaimi is talking about, and maybe the right, it is like leveling the game, right? Like leveling the play field. So the more predictions you make and the better your ranking is, you get to that like top 5 percentile, right? Or top 1 or top 2, whatever it is. Then Suhaimi, like to get back on your point about establishing the right set amounts of rules to play the game. Then that top 5 performance, you can draw the rules of a more specific game, saying like a 7-day, like what we are actually trying to set up in the bot worlds types of environments, where the prices are now, let's say, 100x based on what they were when you were just a hunter or a punter. And now the motivation actually goes back for you to do more and more predictions and get insightful and learn more about that particular environment which you're betting. So it's kind of like works now like on a reverse motivation, right? You might be playing 7 days from now, based on your performance, can trigger you to actually get involved and learn more about that particular industry. So then you are kind of like going 7 days from now, okay, the rules of the games are here. I understand the field. I know that start is 0 and finishes 100 meters. In order for me to get there, okay, I need to achieve this. The better I am within my own lane, I might be able to get in that top 5 percentile and play that game. That's the way I see this whole flow of reverse and practically convertibility, right? It's kind of like a loop.
Yes, a kind of a cycle. Yes, I see. So Hami, would you like to add something?
No, I think that's great. Vlatko, he's explained it really well. So I get that. So if you're saying that we can, basically the hunters can basically make any sort of prediction they want on any instrument out there where the price can basically be tracked. And then we're basically ranking them based on the accuracy of their many predictions. If that's the case, then I think it really can work. For it to, I just make an additional comment, I guess from a punter's perspective, looking at what the hunters are doing, it needs to be probably limited to instruments that are easily tradable.
True.
Right? So that they can really copy them. So they can access it easily. Because not all financial market instruments are open to all retail investors, right? For instance.
You're very correct.
Yeah.
You're very correct. So within the hunting game, there should be verticals where you can actually, okay, you want to bet for or against and make your prediction in the crypto market. This is your lane. You want to do the equities market. This is your lane. Commodities market. This is your lane. You want to bet about whether the queen is going to wave tomorrow when she gets out. This is your lane, and so on.
So one question for you guys. If we start and we have like a pilot, we have a first stage, which kind of layer do you think we should address first? Because in the beginning, as a startup, we cannot be so wide and have so many layers at the same time to launch out there. Would you have a suggestion from where should we start?
Crypto.
Yeah, wherever our biggest audience is going to be. And I think in our space, it probably is going to be the crypto markets. I mean, it's either crypto markets or, I suppose some of the tech stocks would be pretty interesting to some people. I wouldn't say things like commodities or definitely not fixed income. Those are sort of boring stuff for people who are on Discord for sure.
Another question for you guys. I don't know, I had the impression, correct me if I'm wrong, that you guys don't like very much the terminology we are using, punter and hunters. Is it okay? It's, I don't know what there were some comments about if it's really like transparent or engaging. What about the terminology?
The terminology itself, it's about like whether it triggers immediately when you hear it, like, right? So if someone tells me, oh, you gotta be a hunter, I was like, okay, this platform for hunting, fishing, going out to get girls. What am I hunting? Okay, there has to be like a clear, like, focus, like laser focus, what it really is and why do I become a hunter. On the punter side, the other negative connotation is that, okay, punter, I would say not even English speaker understands so much, right? So we have a problem on the vocabulary side of things there.
I see.
What is the best?
To make it more straightforward, I see, Vlatko.
I think it needs to be, I'm a prediction maker, whatever the case is. Even if in the beginning you have to give 2 words for that environment, but when I hear it, I need to understand it.
It's future maker.
I don't know. We need to discuss these things, and we need to, I think, open up another focus group where like you throw in these things and the people not knowing about the site and the details, and they're like, okay, now I get it immediately
and easily.
You have to click in immediately.
Yeah.
Like, even with knowing, I have a trouble processing hunters and punters.
Me too, about
One,
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I
So
was
Jaime?
asking Vlatko, yeah.
Okay. So Jaime had something to say?
Yeah, I think it needs further thought. I'm not entirely convinced about hunters. I know hunters sort of may resonate with people who like to take bets, maybe, but you got to think about the other side of the equation, right? If I'm a guy who wants to follow someone, actually the term hunter, am I going to follow a hunter, may not instill that much confidence. So I think it just needs more thought. I don't
I think
have
this is the only No, those good comments. I think that's probably the only thing that I chimed in on the Discord. So we spend a lot of time doing mass market offerings, and we deal with a really broad range of customers where they need to understand the product quickly. So you have to use nomenclature, vocabulary that you think they're, let's say, halfway there. So many of the new investors now, they understand long and short. They understand speculator, they understand bull and bears and those things. And I'm not saying you have to use that exact stuff, those exact words, but in a startup where you're trying to introduce a fun place to kind of get started in this space and look to trusted leaders, trying to invent a new nomenclature or even use something that's in an unrelated field is going to create extra challenges that are really kind of unnecessary. So I would stick with, somebody who's betting on, somebody who's an analyst, because that's really what they are. They're an analyst to say, hey, this is what I determined is going to be the outcome. Well, if I decide that I'm going to follow them, I'm speculating still. So I'm kind of a speculator that is following an analyst, and I like this analyst or that analyst. I like this team of analysts, but I'm just a speculator until I'm doing the analysis and publishing my prediction or my plan or my program. I'm just a speculator, just basically placing bets. So I think keeping it normal language. I mean, even just keeping it in English. All of those English words will translate very easily to different languages because they're very common words.
You're very
Excellent.
I think what we need to use is like the derivative, even like going now to the epistemology, right? So English, yes, but then take it in its, let's say, English form, its Latin derivative, because then it can be used in Portuguese, in Spanish, in French, in Italian, even in German, even sometimes in, let's say, Russian, Japanese. The other day, I was asked, what's the
more
Japanese name of helicopter? And I asked, no, I don't know. And they said helicopter. And so, it makes sense, right?
And making more intuitive, to any language. Yes, good. Okay, so sorry, Dita.
1 second, yeah.
About the Hunter and Panther, I want to say that it should be more familiar because you're all the time talking about professional, but I think the massive group, it will be not professional people who wants to game and who wants to betting.
I see. It's almost like from your perspective, it's like player and spectator.
Yeah.
I see.
Betting and playing.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it should use like the terms that are existing out there with all of the people understanding.
Because now it's COVID time, it's war time and everything, and the people will stay at home and will look something interesting and needs to be familiar.
I see.
Yeah.
Got it.
Not only professionals. For the investor perspective, you need to have, I don't know, a lot of paperwork and everything, but I'm talking about the massive consuming of the game.
Sense.
Yeah.
Good input.
Excellent. We are coming to the end.
Okay.
So
sorry, Fatima, can I ask one more question if you go back to that? So sorry. Can I ask, just like, like you guys have been like discussing like hunter versus punter, and that's just the terminology, right? But if I were to ask you, why would you want to be a punter and why would you want to be a hunter? Could you, in like maybe 1-2 sentences, tell me what's in it for you? What would motivate you to be either one of these people?
Life.
Yes, why?
Life, right? Life is a game, and life is a betting system. You bet on your abilities, or other people's abilities based on your emotions, feelings, understanding, experience, non-experience, intuition, whatever the case.
And excitement.
And excitement, yeah. Adrenaline rush.
I am.
You know, to answer that question, maybe I would look at it this way, right? So if I'm trading in real life, I'm making bets in real life, I do my own analysis, and I see there is this platform where I can showcase what I can do, test myself, and earn some rewards, get some followers, and earn more money. That's what a hunter should be doing, right? Whereas punters would be people like maybe me, clueless about the markets, follow this guy and that guy, not satisfied with what I've got. I want to find somebody credible. And this is where I can find the trader or the hunter that has the highest accuracy scores that I like to follow, and I'm willing to pay for that. So I think those would be the two practical use cases.
Yeah.
And adding for what Simon just said, it's because you are going to see prediction from someone who is getting right, and so it's going to be ranking. So it's giving you legitimacy to really follow that guy. So this is, yeah, it's really
So
good.
yeah, Vlatko, Dita, and Jake, how do you guys feel about what Saini said?
I feel it's
Like why, you know, yeah.
it's right up the alley, right? I mean, we are kind of like laser focusing now on the equities and the crypto markets without leaving. I mean, we're of course taking note of the psychology and the whole like life experience of each and every one of us, kind of, you know, what makes us humans. And in that connotation, it's completely right. Like you need to follow somebody smarter than you, have a kind of social media type of platform interaction where the follower base actually comments against that particular hunter. And the punters then again are following the whole thread of followers that certain hunter has. So it might be like even type of like a fandom type of environment where the punter eventually not only looks at the hunters, but also looks at his follower base. And they say like, oh, your trade has been great. Thank you so much. Oh, your trade was crap. You know, I hope you recollect tomorrow. So the punter now has even more data to actually make his prediction. Maybe not open it at the very beginning, because then it will kind of like, you know, cloud the judgment of the hunter, of the punter based on the hunter. But I think that's where it should be going, right? Like maybe the way Instagram has done it in the back, like just following and unfollowing with a like and dislike button, and then introduce comments and all of these other types of things.
Yeah,
Those are the
to interact.
Yeah, definitely. So would you say that, you know, the motivation to be a hunter is, you know, really to challenge yourself, to test yourself, or is it, you know, or it's about that fame and that ranking, that credibility? Is it? What do you think is? What's in it for you to be a hunter?
I think it's the competition, you know.
The
adrenaline.
competition.
The competition.
Yeah, because like amongst my friends, I see it all the time. You know, it's like I say I make a call, and next thing you know, Calvin's saying, yeah, that's a crap call. I'll counter your call. You know, there's this competition thingy going on.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, like even though you might not have the right information to counter his call, you're like, I'm going in for the sake of the adrenaline, even if I lose.
Okay, adrenaline. Okay. Got it. Okay. How about yourself, Jake?
Jake?
Is he still there? Okay, he might be still driving.
Okay.
It's okay, Fatima. I think we can continue.
And another question is about how easy it was for you guys to understand the concept. Is it okay? Is it easy? Is it heavy to understand? We tried to make it simple, and you have questions and we fix it. But what about the concept? It's easily to understand?
TrueSight, he explained to you a few days ago.
So sorry, I stepped away from the phone. I was still listening. I think I can answer both of those real quick. So obviously, I'm hearing everybody talk about it and give kind of their 2 cents has caught me up, I think, better than the Discord has about what this really is. So the motivation, I think everybody kind of hit on it. You know, we're all a little entrepreneurial and we want to explore and live life and have fun. And but people get sick of trying those things in environments where the game is rigged, where they can't trust it. And it becomes kind of a bummer to play in these fun places where you don't know if it's a game where the rules as they're written are actually what the rules are. So that's my motivation, is this is something to make life a little more interesting. And as far as the concept goes, I think you guys are getting closer and closer on having something that will be very easy for people to understand. And I mean, I've gotten it much more clearly just from this call. That's it for me.
I suggest Alex to explain about the concept of the game, because
and his feeling.
Because he's really fresh from yesterday or yes,
No,
3 days ago.
2 days ago.
2 days ago. First time Gary introduced him with a concept and everything.
Yeah,
So maybe what you should do is first introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm
then,
Alex
and
from Belgrade.
yeah.
And,
Hi.
I'm 23. I'm an IT student. And well, I understood your game well, most of it. I mean, I think it's a fun concept, but I think there's like some stuff you should do maybe. And well, Gary explained to me, we didn't talk for a while, but you explained very well. I think I understood the basics of it.
Yeah.
So,
but Alex, when you look at here on this web page and only with this few informations here, can you get it? It's easily, or it's not so clear?
well, let me read it. You can continue your conversation.
No, we'll wait for you.
Yeah, we'll wait for you.
No, don't worry.
Let's sit closer. Yeah.
So, Hami, can you share with us your impressions? Like the concept is easy to pick up?
Yeah, I think it's pretty easy. It isn't something, I think they're kind of right about these terminologies not being the best, because I think like a lot of your players will be from video gamers, like, so I think you should maybe use the terminology from the video games, like, you know, I don't know.
Yes, that's
so that it would kind of attract the people so they could naturally like adapt to the new terminologies. And
So another follow-up question, Alex. Based on how Gary explained to you the whole concept, if you would have explained the same concept to somebody else based on your understanding of only 2-3 days, how would you explain it? Let's say Aphrodita here, she doesn't know anything about it. And let's say you're part of TrueSight and you have to now explain her in 2 minutes what the whole concept is. Can you explain that to her?
so it's a video game that's played online, and you bet for the values of cryptocurrencies or some other events. Like you said, if the queen will wave. I found it funny. And so if you bet right, you get points, DAO points.
You get tokens.
Tokens, yes. And if you predict wrong, you lose tokens, and you can bet a certain amount of tokens, however you want. Right? And well, if you keep on winning, you get in high ranks.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
And well, then other people can see your predictions. Is that right? And well, they can then predict based on your thoughts. They can predict themselves.
Or follow you.
Or follow you. Yeah.
Yes. and you'll be there in the community. So it's public, your position.
Okay. Yeah.
It's pretty
Yeah.
clear explanation from your side, Alex.
Yeah. I think
Yes,
that's what I understood of it, but
But
yes,
3 days and just for
yeah, I'm kind of new to
15
this.
minutes.
I wasn't in this call, so I didn't see what you were talking about. I came
no,
like
it was,
10 minutes ago.
You,
so-
you joined right on time. Everything was good.
yes,
okay.
it was great. Alex, thanks a lot. Thank you so much. Because you explained to Dita, but you could also be explain to your classmates, your friends. So it's exactly like this, and you just used a few words.
Okay. And now, Fatima, now I think you had a question.
Yes.
Right.
So do you guys have any questions for us or something that we can clarify? That's the last minutes.
I think Gary is like, this morning I had a chat with Gary and he brought up a good question, about the punters, the people doing the following. Right now, it's like, how do we, because like when they get the signal, they kind of like do the trading in their own like brokerage account. Right? It's like, what would be how do we actually manage the, kind of like backlash, right? In case, say, they actually take the signal and the outcome is bad, right? They start complaining, like, and then like the same thing that was like written in the report that like Chris like surfaced like this morning in the Discord channel. That's something kind of like that's interesting to like think about. The coincidentally is like that was what like Gary's like brought up, is like how to actually like deal with that, because currently like everybody that's involved here is kind of like we know each other, right? So it's like, okay, if it's a bad prediction, it's like, oh, okay, he tried. But like someone like coming in from like say external doesn't know anybody, just like, oh shit, this is like a lousy prediction, I lost money. And then the negative dynamic actually becomes like very compounded, like escalates.
Interesting. So the way I would see this is actually we need to give a little bit of a testing environment, right?
Yeah.
So maybe in the very beginning, once this thing scales and catches on some kind of a momentum, we actually allocate a TrueSight reserve, and we are the ones automatically or not automatically betting against the early entrants within the system.
Yeah.
Right. So like that, we are the ones kind of burning some of TrueSight.
Yeah.
For these things. Like that, we'd let the environment know what is happening, and also we're kind of protecting them in the early phases of them losing the funds. Once there is like a clear understanding of who are the top, who is the bottom, the new entrants, they're kind of like, let's say, suits, then you can open up the gates, the floodgates to everybody that's making the position.
So Vladko, if I understood what you said, it's about having like a starting point. We have a little of a database and then having a starting point.
So the starting point is the following, right? Like, okay, we all make our predictions. There should be like a counter, all right? And it's even like the chicken and the egg problem, right? So who starts? Are the punters there already? Are the hunters there? Okay, let's use these terminologies because we can understand it. So punters will be the first movers, right? In the whole game. The hunters will be, I would say, somewhere after there is a critical mass, right? But in order to excite and induce the hunters to stay playing the game, there needs to be punters from day one. But the punters won't be there from day one because they don't know who is who in that game.
Yeah.
My opinion should be the punters. The house should be the punters in the very beginning until there is a critical data or critical mass. And then slowly open up the gates for the punters to come in and kind of flash.
Rather than saying like the house provides the 100 predictions, perhaps we should say we go out and curate, a group of maybe a group of hunters that could have maybe more accurate predictions so that it doesn't feel like, the platform is rigging the game?
No, I'm not saying the house should be the hunter. The house should be
Okay.
the hunter.
Sorry, the house should be the punter.
Yeah. The hunters,
Right.
they can come in.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm also wondering, do the punters need to be there at day one? Right? If the hunters already get rewarded, does it really matter that the reward is not coming from the punters? Or could the followers just be non-monetary at first until it really picks up? Because at the beginning, they're probably not going to have any hunters, but like if I listen to the motivations that you guys have, right? It's about ranking, it's about recognition, it's about competition. You could still have all of that with hunters alone. You don't even need to have organic punters yet.
That's true.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that was a good idea that that Vlatko brought up. Yeah.
That's true as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have to take our time and think a little bit, but it's it. You guys raised very good questions for us. Now now we have like a homework. I don't know if you'd like to add something, Vlatko?
No, actually, I mean, it's
Fatima.
Fatima.
Chris.
Sorry, Chris.
Yes.
You have a valid point there, right? Like the thing I'm worried more on what I just proposed is like, how do you keep the momentum, right? The momentum has to be there from start one. Since we are kind of the house, the house has to back its business model. Right? So if the house is more involved in the hunting, well, it should definitely be involved in the punting.
Actually,
Yeah. So if I can back to this, yeah, this kind of reminds me of, let's say if we were to take out the punters from the equation completely at the beginning, right? And we only use hunters. So hunters would get rewarded in tokens if they won. And of course, reverse, they would lose their tokens if they lost. But then this brings me to this, so Jaime, isn't this exactly what Binomo is? It's like this binary option where you either win or lose. And then it becomes, I'm not sure it's a bad thing, but yeah, it seems to be associated with gambling and betting, which could get us into trouble. Or I don't know, it could have a negative connotation. Or is it really just the words that we use, that we don't use the word bet? I don't know.
Yeah, we do have to be careful about that.
One thing I want to add that, there's I think a third component to this that sometimes it can get a little lost, that there's the underlying architecture of really what this is, which is a platform for somebody who is a hunter or an analyst or whatever, to be able to establish a vein of credibility, probably with an audience that they already have. You can see it on Twitter right now where people are, or YouTube or any of the major places where they're trying to drive their audience to this super controlled environment, let's say on Discord, where they're doing technical analysis and they're sharing.
Yeah.
So I think there's value in, this isn't just digging for gold. I think this thing is selling a shovel as well, where it's like, look, we have the technology for you to establish a credit score or a reputation, where you can charge for people to see your predictions and bet along with you. And they pay you in this token, and for you to bring your platform and your ideas and your content onto this platform, we reward you with tokens that can become more valuable over time, because as your bets become more accurate, that token value to spend to be a follower of that person probably would go up. So I think that there needs to be some legwork done on the technology that could be attractive to somebody who doesn't have the ability to say, hey, here's just a screen print or a P&L. They can't do that. And you can fake those things, but this would basically give them a trusted score. So I think we could solve the chicken and egg platform or problem by saying, I don't care about getting one or the other first, because you should be able to get them at the same time, because we can very clearly see who's making predictions to an audience. And if they don't come on board and word gets around that they've been offered it and they won't, their reputation probably will go down if this gains in popularity, because they're afraid of maybe being exposed because they have been faking their results to get a following. So it's something to think about.
Actually,
Thank you. Yeah. Tuhami, would you add something?
Yeah, I'll just say something quickly, Gary. Sorry, because I need to run off as well. So I think there's a big difference between gambling and what we're trying to achieve here. As Jake was saying, look, we're trying to build that platform where we have analysts or hunters who are really trying to sort of validate their trading strategy and the accuracy of what they do, and following that to gain that following and monetize that a little bit. Whereas, if you look at many of the so-called trading gambling platforms, they're really binary sort of bets, in the sense that you're betting against the house, right? You're just saying, I bet that it's going to go up or go down, and you're given, and the reward is actually just given by the house. So if you choose this direction and you get it right, I'm going to give you a 70% payout or 60% payout. And most of these bets are typically not even investable bets by themselves, right? They're saying like, what's going to happen in the next 1 minute or 2 minutes? That's not a credible trading strategy. I mean, the guys who do high frequency trading don't make those kinds of bets anyway. That's not how they trade. So in that sense, it's not really trading in my view. And the house is really setting the terms and the odds. To me, those kinds of platforms are really out there just to make money off the participants.
True.
I see, yeah.
That's, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Cool.
So guys, I'd like to thank you a lot. We spent a lot of time, much more than I thought, but it was really good, really rich, the discussion, the points you brought. It was really, really good for us. So thanks a lot for your time, your attention, your contribution. And yes, maybe we get back to you. Now we have a homework to do to fix a lot of things, but for sure we are getting out of this with much more content, to think and refine our product. Thank you so much.
I just want to all the participants today, be prepared to receive some TSD airdrops in your wallet. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Nice
Thank
to meet everybody. All right,
Yep.
bye.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Oh, it was a good session, huh? Yeah.
Very good.
Okay. Now let's record.